Hi everyone and welcome back. I've got an M&C Matrix for you this time around. It's got 5 pin stacks and 5 sliders and a sidebar. The sliders are unsprung and it's got some really cool drivers. They've got a kind of a dovetail cut, and it's almost like a spool but cut like a dovetail. Anyway, here's the key. There's the channel for the sliders. Key works. This one has a trap pin in it as well. So we'll pick it through, get it open, and then we'll fall into the trap and pick out of the trap. Alright, let's get going. So I'm using moderate tension. Pin 1 was binding, 2 was loose, 3 is binding. These they kind of pick like tapered. 4 is binding. I get a lot of like little incremental sets with them, or clicks with them. 5 is binding. I got that. They don't bind hard though. 1 is loose. 2 is binding. Got a little movement out of it. 3 is binding. Some movement out of 3. 4 was lightly binding. 5 is binding. That's loose now. Back to 1. It's binding. Sorry, it's loose. 2 is binding. 3 is binding. I think. Where's 3? There it is. 4 was binding. Little click on it. 5 is loose. 1 is loose. 2 is loose. 3 was binding. We got a little click and some core rotation from it. 4 is loose. 5 is binding. Some counter rotation and a click. Back to 1. 1 is binding. Counter rotation and a click. 2 is binding. Counter rotation and a click. 3 is binding. Counter rotation and a click. 4 is loose. 5 is loose. 1 is loose. 2 is loose. I feel like I might have overset 3, so I just eased off of it and let it drop down. It's loose now. Let's run through them again. 1 is loose. 2 is loose. 3 is loose. 4 is binding. Counter rotation and a click, and we got some good core movement there. So I think that the stacks are picked. 5 is loose, 4 is loose, 3 is loose, 2 is loose, 1 is loose. Let's move over to the sliders. I'm just using a Sparrow's shallow Euro hook, I think this is. It works really well on these sliders. So 5 is binding. I'm going to try and get 5. I'm going to ease off tension a little. There we go. I'm going to click out of 5. 4 is binding. There we go. Got some movement out of 4 and the core moved a bit. 3 is loose. 2 is binding. Where's 3? Yeah, 2 is binding. Got a little bit of movement there. 1 is binding. It's loose. Got some core rotation there. Yeah. 2. There. I had overset 2, and that's open. So I'm going to rotate it into the trap now. As you can see, the plug is locked there. So let's bring this around. If I can get on that trap pin. There it is. Oh. Fell off it there. So I'm on the trap pin. It's a little hard to get it just right. There we go. So it's out of the trap. I'm gonna rotate it a full 360 degrees. I'm just gonna put a Allen key in the keyway here to keep the drivers up. And we'll rotate that past. There. Full 360. And that's locked again. So let's take this out. We'll do a gut. Okay. I'll get this C-clip off. There we go. Where's that key? And a follower. Here we go. Okay. Now there is a sidebar. So I gotta hold on to that sidebar. And then catch the trap pin as well. There we go. So there you can see there's the trap pin. It's kind of shaped like a ramp. When the key is in, the driver will just ride on top of the pin. But when the key's pulled out, it will leave a void. We'll come back to that. I'll show you that later. Let's get the sidebar out. So there's the sidebar. See that? Put that over there. Sidebar has 2 small springs. One and 2. Oh, almost lost it. Okay. Let's get the the key pins out. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, I think I mentioned before the sliders are not sprung. So they're not not going to come flying out. But they are interesting. They have false gates. There's a true gate and a false gate on each one. You can see the true gate is much wider than the false gate. We'll come back to that in a second. And I'll show you the, there's the other one. The true gate is a lot wider than the sidebar, which, I don't know, suggests to me that it might be mastered, but they're all like that. They're all the same width. So I wonder, maybe it's not mastered. I'm not sure. Anyway, here's the plug. There's that hole for the trap pin. See in there. Sliders, drill protection. I think there's like a bar here that goes through to the other side. I think that's drill protection. Anyway, let's move on to the drivers. And they have these tiny, very fine little springs. Kind of hard to get a hold of. There, I think we can get the rest of the drivers out without the springs getting in the way. There. Did I get them all? There. So here's the rest of the springs. And we'll take a look at the cylinder. You can see there's the sidebar groove. There. What else? Nothing else remarkable. There's some drill protection there in the front. That's it for that. Let's take a look at the trap pin. You can see what I mean. How there's the little pin on the end there, but this side is ramped, cut on an angle, which kind of matches the radius of the plug. Where's the plug? Let's put that in there. There. So when it's sitting properly, it falls in, and there's enough room there where the driver gets caught. But then when you put the key in, or a pick, it pushes that up. Sufficiently that the driver will just slide right over it. Anyway, let's have a look at a driver. Actually, I'm going to give you a close-up of all of the drivers, and then we'll take a look at one. So there's all the pieces. There's like the key pins aren't milled in a way that will overset them. However, actually, I'm just noticing now, I think the key pins are tapered on the end. Yeah, they are. So the key pins have a little bit of taper. So I suppose you could overset a bit. Anyway, and there's the drivers, or one driver. It's got a recess in the end where the spring fits in. Sorry about the focus there. Here, let's do this. And then you can see how the end of it is cut kind of like a dovetail. It gives really good feedback. Anyway, it's a fun lock to pick. Quite enjoyed it. I think that's it. I think that's all I have for you, all I have to say about it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. But I remember, I wanted to look at the sliders. So here you can see how the sliders have a true gate and a false gate. You can see how wide that true gate is compared to the false gate. And if you hold the sidebar up to it, I don't know if I'll be able to show this. The sidebar, you see that? There is room, there's play in the true gate. So when it's set, it feels quite loose. The false gate is just, oh wait, it would be this way around, wouldn't it? No, it would be this way, yeah. So the false gate isn't quite wide enough for the sidebar to fall into it, but it is enough that you'll get caught. You'll get caught in it. Enough that you can mistake it. Anyway, I think that's it. I think that's it this time. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Take care. Bye-bye.